Hey friends, welcome back to another video. Today I have got two delicious brand new recipes to share with you. Let's get started. All right, up for dinner tonight is a cheeseburger pie, and I literally just realized that I have burgers planned for tomorrow night's dinner. So, good news is we like burgers, so I guess we'll be fine. But this recipe sounded good. I am currently trying to open up a pound of ground beef and I'm struggling, so hang on a second here. All right, finally got that open. So we got 1 pound of ground beef going into the skillet. I also have some onion that I chopped up that I'm gonna add in. I think the recipe suggests like cooking the meat a little bit and then adding the onion, but I like my onion super cooked if I'm gonna use onion. So I'm gonna just add it in from the beginning so it can get nice and tender. When it's nice and tender, it has a totally different flavor, and I honestly don't notice it if it's in nice little pieces, and that's how I like onion, where I can't even notice it. So we're gonna cook up the onion and the ground beef here. All right, while this is cooking, we're gonna go ahead and get started with what's actually like the topping kind of. This seems like a very easy dinner. I think it only takes like 20 to 30 minutes in the oven. And I don't think it's gonna take long to prepare either. So that's cool. All right, we're gonna make what is called on the recipe, the cheese topping. I've got 1 egg and 1/4 cup of milk. Mix that together. And then we're gonna add in our seasonings. The recipe called for dried mustard. I do not have that. I put it on my list when I was at the store, but I didn't think to look at other stores before I went to Aldi, and Aldi is always my last stop. And of course, that's not something that Aldi has, so I'm gonna skip that. Oh my word. Y'all saw that. Okay, so can you fish out salt? Yeah, you can. Okay. This is why you shouldn't do that. You should just use a measuring spoon. It fell out because there was a clump, which thankfully is making it a little easier to scoop some of it out. Okay, that's how much I just pulled out of there. There's some salt in the meat mixture part. We're just gonna skip that. So, okay. So it's supposed to be 1/2 teaspoon of salt, some dried mustard. Oh, I need to get Worcestershire sauce. 1/2 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. I'm going a little bit extra on that because I like it. And 2 cups of shredded cheddar. I believe, I never measure it, but I believe that 8 ounces, like an 8-ounce block of cheese shredded up is 2 cups. So, well, that's what I just did. Mixing that all together. And our meat mixture is, or our meat is just about done. So let's head back over to the stove and finish that part. All right, so we're gonna start by draining the fat. I just kind of move a little paper towel around in there. Now I had a little bit of ground beef and onion in the fridge. This is some cooked that I had pulled out of the freezer. It was already cooked, pulled out of the freezer earlier this week, but I didn't end up using quite all of it. So we're gonna add that in there as well. All right, so to the meat part, you'd be adding some salt. We're gonna skip that. Oregano, I'm skipping that because, well, I don't like pepper. Some oregano, and then it calls for 1/2 cup of Italian breadcrumbs, which I was not gonna measure, but I'm going to. I do not have Italian breadcrumbs. Oh, I was so close. It's almost the rest of that. All right, let me get a little bit more. And I have panko breadcrumbs. That's just what I use. So I'm going to do the 1/2 cup of breadcrumbs and some Italian seasoning. And we're gonna call that Italian breadcrumbs. We also need a 1/2 cup, no, we don't need it. I was gonna say half a can. You need 8 ounces of tomato sauce. This is a 15-ounce can. So I'm gonna do a little bit more than half. Whoa, I just flung some sauce. Don't know if you saw that. The recipe also calls for a 1/4 cup of celery, and then it says, or you can substitute with green pepper. That doesn't sound good to me. If I was gonna do celery, I would have put it in with the ground beef and onion because I like my celery the same way I like my onion. I like it cut up small and very, very cooked. But so I almost like did that in that step, but it just doesn't, I don't know. I don't know that I need celery in this, so I skipped it. So we're just gonna mix this all together. I do a tiny bit more of the tomato sauce because I did add maybe a little extra of the breadcrumbs now that I think about it, because I did add a little bit of extra meat. All right, I think that's gonna do it for our meat mixture. Well, you guys, I was just talking and rambling and I wasn't recording. I have a pre-made pie crust from Aldi. I took this out while I was cooking the beef so that it would warm up a little bit, just for like 10 to 15 minutes. And then I'm not doing anything fancy here. In fact, mine looks, I did not put mine in here evenly, apparently. But the recipe said to not have anything coming over the edges. So I folded down what I needed to, and it's not incredibly pretty, but it's all right. All right, we're gonna take our meat mixture and put this into the pie crust. Wow, almost had a mess there. Trying to spread this out nice and even all the way to the edges here. All right, now we're gonna put our cheese mixture on top. Spread this out. All right, now we're gonna sprinkle with 3 ounces of bacon pieces. It does say you can use like real bacon, but they actually recommend using this, and I'm all for that. This is really good. It's not like bacon bits, you know, that are like hard and crunchy. This package from Aldi is 2.5 ounces, but I have a little bit left over from another one that was open, so we'll just add that in. All right, now this goes in the oven at 425 for 20 to 30 minutes. And I'm going to attempt to clean up the kitchen and take a shower before this is done. So we served our cheeseburger pie topped with some lettuce, tomato, and some chopped up pickles, and it was really good. I personally would prefer, I think, to substitute the tomato sauce with ketchup. It just has a little bit of a sweeter taste and maybe fits more the cheeseburger flavor. My husband said it was good, but he was like, I would just assume have a cheeseburger. This is because I asked him. He's always very sweet about the food, but I just wanted to know his thoughts on it. But then when we had it for leftovers, he was like, this got better. So do with that what you will. But it was really good. If you're looking for a switch up, I definitely do recommend giving it a try. Now let's get into the next recipe. All right, we are making some creamy garlic pork chops. These were so good. These were so good. My husband absolutely loved these. So I pulled some pork chops out of the freezer the day before. Now they're thawed, pulled them out of the fridge about 15 to 30 minutes before cooking them, just to let them warm up a little bit. And I'm just salting them with salt, seasoning them with salt on both sides. You can also do pepper if you like pepper, but if you're new here, I don't. So now in a skillet, I'm putting in a tablespoon of olive oil and a tablespoon of butter and getting that melted down. And then I'm going to put in the pork chops and sear them for 3 to 5 minutes per side until golden brown. I didn't have room for all 3 of mine in here. If I had a bigger skillet, this would have been better, but it worked out. I just did it in batches, and then I crammed them in here at the end because you do want them all together at the end. So we're gonna pull the pork chops out. They're not fully cooked at this point. Just gonna pull them out and set them to the side. I added in a little bit more butter because I was doing another round of them. Don't worry about all the bits at the bottom. It's totally fine. Once the pork chops are done, we're gonna add in 1 more tablespoon of butter And then this recipe calls for, well, I'm gonna try scraping them up the bits, but we're gonna really scrape them up in just a minute. This recipe calls for a whole head of garlic, and it's not minced, they're just peeled, and we're just gonna dump them in there, and we're gonna cook those for just a few minutes, about 3 minutes, until the garlic has somewhat browned on the outside. Just kind of keep stirring it. You can see I'm trying to scrape up the bottom. It was kind of pointless at this point, but we're gonna get there. So let the garlic cook, keep it moving, and get them a little bit browned on each side. And then we're gonna just push our garlic to the side of the pan. We're gonna add in some flour and let that cook up. We're making ourselves a little bit of a roux here real quick. And you just have to let that cook for, like 30 seconds or so. Not very long, but we just want to get it incorporated. I think I'm going to add a little bit more flour here. Yeah, because I'd added a little bit more butter when I did the second batch of pork chops. I don't know, it looked like it needed a little bit more to me. And then we're going to add in some chicken broth and a little bit of lemon juice. I'll have the recipe link down below for all of the measurements. And we're going to start scraping up the bottom, get all of our bits and pieces off. There's lots of flavor in that. And we're going to let that cook for just about a minute until the sauce becomes thickened, or the chicken broth becomes thickened. And I was just taking advantage of that time to clean up the pan. And now we're going to add in some heavy cream. And believe it or not, the recipe also calls for garlic powder. So we're just going to stir that around for a minute, let the garlic powder dissolve, and have the, heavy cream warm up a little bit. We're just making a really nice creamy sauce. Guys, this recipe was so easy and incredibly delicious and flavorful. I'm not showing it, but I'm also cooking up some rice on the side, and I also steamed up some broccoli. And I'm getting my pork chops in here, and I'm just trying to get them, dipped them kind of in both sides, just to get them covered. And we're gonna let this hang out in the pan for about 3 to 5 minutes until the sauce is thickened and the pork is up to temperature. So I did use my meat thermometer here, and I did kind of a few different times just kind of used a spoon and ladled some sauce over top of the pork chops, just because, I don't know, I wanted to, it seemed right. Wish I had a slightly bigger skillet. I honestly thought the pork chops were boneless. I kind of forgot what I had. I topped this with a little bit of parsley, and this dinner was absolutely delicious. Highly recommend it. It would also be good served with mashed potatoes if that's your thing. But yeah, this dinner, definitely a winner. That's gonna do it for today's video. I have both recipes linked down in the description box. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new, turn on the notification bell, join my little YouTube family on my tiny corner of the YouTube world. I would love it if you did that. It also helps my channel out, and then you'll be notified the next time I post a video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.